Yeah. All right. So now I want. Hi everyone. So this is Migrant from the Global Goals World Cup Clubhouse. Today we're having our Monday talk, and Marie and I will be talking to Team ScanScar from Mumbai today. And they played in the Global Goals World Cup in 2019. And even though that it feels, you know, or knowing that it's just a year ago, it feels like it's so many things have happened since we met each other in Mumbai at that time. So we're checking in, and hope that you will all be listening in to these amazing ladies and what they were doing at the time when we were playing, and also what they have been doing now since and during the coronavirus. So I'm going to jump into one of those questions I think that is on all our minds today right now, and that is, what are some of the critical things that we need to see changed in for us to be able to do our work? So if we look at the ScanScar work that you're doing, what are some of the things where that would really help benefit your work? And then of course also talk about the work that you are actually doing. But you know, hard on, is there any of the laws in your country that could be or should be changed that would benefit young women and women in your network?
Absolutely, and thanks for reaching out to us. Global Goals World Cup has been an excellent supporter and an ally to us since the very beginning of the Global Goals World Cup 2019. And as you said, it's been a wild ride since. Who would have thought we would be talking about this now over Zoom? But so great to have connected again. India honestly has some excellent laws for women and girls, but we've struggled immensely with implementation. And those loopholes are showing even wider now when we are amid a crisis. So we do have excellent adolescent skills, adolescent laws for young girls that exist, but at the moment, so the machinery has come to a standstill. So it looks like there was no planning for a pandemic whatsoever. And some laws, if I may start out pointing, would be the RKSK law in India, where essentially adolescent girls get access to sanitary products through school mechanisms. So they get free products via this particular scheme, but we didn't realize that the supply chain would be completely disrupted. Girls don't have access to schools anymore, which means that for months on, they have been left with no access to pleated products. It's also noticeable that most of these communities come from very, very marginalized socioeconomic backgrounds. So budgets for women hygiene products really don't fit into their household income or their capacity to be able to indulge in these products. And hence there has been a big gap where millions of girls in India have been left without access to products during this time. Also critical programs where education awareness is run in schools, in community centers, through nonprofits, they've all come to a standstill. Also because our digital infrastructure still remains in the hands of the few privileged in this country. So you and I can talk on Zoom, but I can't do that with my beneficiaries anymore. So we've had to improvise a lot. And I think likewise, it's been a very steep learning curve for the government machinery as well as the civil society in India.
So when I hear those, I mean, there's always a lot of numbers going around, you know, and numbers that where we said these are some of the numbers that we really need to change. So one of them that you know struck me was it says 23 million girls yearly leave school when they get their period.
Yeah, this is a widely reported number, and perhaps the only statistics we have. It is true that millions of girls in India stop going to school when they start menstruating. There are several reasons, of course, one of which is stigma and taboo, parents not wanting their girls to go to school once they start menstruating. Also lack of facilities like toilets and water in school facilities. Sometimes the distances are so long between school and home that they really can't take that journey on foot while they're also menstruating. And the fifth is lack of access to products. So a lot of us still use cloth, which is not a bad method to be used. It is definitely eco-friendly. It's super sustainable, but sometimes not the most convenient for young girls who want to be active, want to take part in sports. are very, very, very scared of a stain on their skirts or their suits, and things like these, like a combination of these factors hold back girls, and we see a very stark drop as soon as girls enter middle school, which is about class 4, 5, 6, and that has been something that's true. So 23 million girls is a number that a lot of us are trying to work to reduce drastically.
So tell us a little bit about what it is that you as a company or organization that is, what are some of the key 5 things or something like that that you are working on? And you can, of course, if you want to go into, and you can, all of you, talk into this one, but also if you want to talk, what did you do before, and have something changed since the corona?
Yeah, so I will pick the part where I just talk about the 4 things that Mission SanScar stands for on the work we do. And perhaps I'll then give it to Radhika to talk a little bit about what we did during the Global Goals World Cup to further those goals. And Harshla can talk about how we've adapted during COVID-19 and the things we've done. So very quickly mentioning the 4 things we work for, we definitely want to start conversations around menstruation and normalize it. For very long, a normal biological occurrence has held back girls from doing what they want to do, have made girls not equal to boys, and we want to change that equation. So that's the one thing that we do. Second is we want to impart correct and medical information, medically relevant information to these girls. We are shrouded in myths and taboos. There are a lot of things going around. You can't do this, you can't do that. We want to be able to empower them with knowledge so they can actually fight for their rights. So if we say gender equality, they are informed about their rights. The number 4 thing we do is that we found innovative methods to be able to further girls' potentials. So football, for example, has been one incredible method for us to start conversations, to talk about physical ability, and also non-traditional careers. Similarly, we've also indulged in sports, in arts, and also music. Like we had a beautiful rapping group from Dharavi who joined us at Global Goals World Cup, and they're in fact in one of the hotbed areas in COVID-19 at the moment. So that's something that we've been working on too with them. There's a third thing, and the last thing that we want to do is to improve access to products and talk about sustainability. So as much as plastic disposable pads are great, what are your options? How do you access these? So some advocacy around that is also what we do. I'm going to hand it over to Radhika, who can talk a little bit about our gender equality campaign during Global Goals World Cup, where we try to include men in the conversation.
Thank you so much. Hello, everyone. I'm Radhika. And basically, Mission SanScar has been working not only to involve girls, but also men and boys in this conversation when we talk about menstruation. And since the Global Goals World Cup, even during the World Cup, we collaborated with various government schools and we conducted awareness sessions with them. And apart from the awareness sessions and giving proper knowledge to those girls, we also made sure that we gave them access to these menstrual hygiene products. So specifically, we did a workshop with girls who play football from a government school. And since they had been introduced to the idea of a menstrual cup, it was very new to them, and even in their family, no one was aware about it. So we had given them free of cost menstrual hygiene products and menstrual cups and made them aware about it so that they could also freely play their sport and excel in their studies as well. Apart from this, we did awareness sessions in a small town in India called Aurangabad. And over there, we collaborated with an organization working on grounds. And over here, we felt that, a lot of times menstruation is a topic which has a lot of stigma associated with it. And a lot of times we, just give away information about it. But at Mission SanScar, we are aiming to have creative interventions. For example, as Sumati just mentioned, we had music, we had games, and we also had the medium of art. So art as a therapy where girls can freely express their thoughts about it. And along with expressing their thoughts, they can also relate to the access of proper information that we are giving them. And when we're talking about games, as we all know, there are countless number of myths that are associated with periods, specifically in India, when we talk about religion, when we talk about culture. So through these games, we use these games in order to help reduce these myths and create an environment where girls can safely talk about it and get that necessary information.
So Radhika, which one are some of the stigmatizations that are around having your menstrual?
All right. So there are a multitude of myths associated with menstruation in India, and some of them will probably be that you cannot take bath when you are menstruating. When we all know that it's very important that we stay in a hygienic environment, and we clean our bodies specifically during this period. Another one is that in India, a lot of us eat pickles, and these are specifically made at home. So girls are told that they cannot eat pickles. So these are ideas of menstrual huts in Nepal. So similarly, girls are segregated and they are stigmatized when it's a normal biological process, and it's
Radhika, you're breaking up a little bit at the end. So thank you. So I think I missed the last part of it. But maybe jump over to Harshula if you will tell a little bit about your campaign thing, and then hopefully our sound will work again.
So to add to Radhika, like we just did a social media campaign on Menstrual Hygiene Day. So like Sumati mentioned, because people are not going, young girls are not going to schools nowadays, we had to make sure that they still have access to period products, because schools were their primary source. So on Menstrual Hygiene Day, we decided to have a fundraiser, and the result was that we made period products accessible to 2,200 girls. And along with that fundraiser, what we tried to do before it was that, we tried to raise awareness, like Radhika mentioned, on how to reduce these myths. So there's one myth that girls can't swim. So like she mentioned how they can't have a bath. There's also stuff like how they can't swim, and also awareness about, stuff like there are some football clubs like Chelsea that tailor the schedules of the female players according to according to their menstrual cycles. And then we tried to involve men in this dialogue as well. We didn't want to keep it very heavy because we realized that these are tough times. So we had a very nice approach on how we went about it. The fundraiser was basically an event where we asked everyone to get their favorite drink. So it could be a beer, it could be a coffee or something like that. And we tried to make them realize that just by donating the amount you spend to buy your favorite drink, you can eliminate period poverty. So like one beer can help around 25 women. And I think that message really resonated well with our audience. And that's why they were kind of excited too, because it was a fun event. It was just not a fundraiser. We tried to have art therapy as well in that session, because we realized, again, like, these times are tough, and we tried to play games and we tried to build awareness by playing those games. So yeah, we're really thankful to all our supporters for that.
Yeah. And just to very quickly hop in and just add a few things to what Harshula was saying, we also run a helpline for girls in distress who may want to reach out to us with questions at the moment. And one of the things we heard consistently was that women or girls are missing their period throughout this lockdown time, and they just couldn't figure why was this happening. And a lot of it is anxiety related. We don't realize that mental health and menstrual health is actually very closely related. And then we figure that women are worried about XYZ things, and that's actually causing their cycles to derail a little bit. And hence we came up with the idea of having a lighter fundraiser, playing some games, indulging in some art therapy. And hence now we are trying to work on some niche topics like the association between mental health and menstrual health. Sport is something that we are definitely trying to run more programs on. Just need to improvise a little bit on how to run these digitally, and perhaps we can look to you for guidance. But Kim is someone who's helping us design these programs where we are trying to link a little bit of physical activity in terms of sports and gender equality and menstruation. Will it be okay if Kim takes a minute to talk about these things?
Hi, I'm Kimberly, and it's been a year since I heard of Mission SanScar and since we played the Global Goals World Cup. And honestly, before I heard of Mission SanScar, I didn't really know any organizations that were working in the field of menstruation and menstrual hygiene for women. It's in India. And I personally play football, and I run my own small business aimed at empowering girls, young girls and women to work and play in football. And I've constantly been in touch with Sumati, thanks to the Global Goals World Cup, which is from where we got in touch with each other. We and have begun this bond that I'm sure is flourishing into something great, because we are looking at working together in empowering women, gender equality, as well as informing them about the importance of menstrual hygiene, which is not very often talked about in India. So I'm so glad that we're able to use sport as a platform to be able to reach out to girls holistically and to develop and to change mindsets here in India.
Well, I'm of course super glad to hear that. so I think that sport really has a place in our society, and I think that we have been in this time that happened. I think all of us, also the world of sports, have been kind of surprised by saying, okay, what are the role that we have in our society? You know, yeah, we are entertainment, but what are we also, you know? And I think that there is as many ways that we can think of sports being a place to go to, you know, when something like this happens, then have we, in between coronaviruses in that sense, have we created a space where people feel that they belong, where they have a strong network, where they have teammates, where they have, you know, not only maybe just on your football team, but also in your neighborhood team in that sense, right? And sport can really play a role in that. So that would be, I mean, my recommendation in the sense is understanding that when people come together and play, it is a free space in a sense where everyone is have that equal sense of just, you know, moving the ball around, but that creates a sense of trust between us, that, you know, we've seen each other in those situations. And I think more than anything, probably trust and building strong teams and strong neighborhoods is what we need. So and I'll just say to you, Kimberly, if you're going to be the one that are going to be sitting with it, then if there's anything that we can help in with our experience of creating teams or creating tournaments, creating these sporting events. What do you do if you want to do a sporting event in a village where you want to have 5 teams that are playing, where, you know, others can participate? Just let us know. Just reach out. We have a ton of experience in doing these things, so we'll be absolutely happy to help with that. So what are some of the things that you would tell others, you know, if they were going to start something themselves? I mean, maybe also, I mean, you, Kimberly, you're the first one. What made you join? You know, what tricked you into this? And if you were someone else in new to the world of doing something for the world, what would you recommend?
Honestly, I like to take the road less treaded on, road less taken. And I think Sumati with Mission SanScar and me with the work I'm doing, we're on the similar path, trying to encourage and empower more girls to come out and pursue very unconventional paths, especially here in India. Sport and menstruation, not very conventional and not very often heard together. And for me, that was just eye-opening. It made me realize that we haven't really had conversations like this before. And it's amazing that Mission SanScar is using these platforms to initiate these conversations. And me having a background in sport, I wanted to be able to join in and hop onto this and also be part of this conversation, to then take this to a different set of people as well and try and educate them, try and inform them. And hopefully people from there would then jump on and spread it to people in a different line, hopefully. So that was my idea, and you know, what started this whole journey for us.
Anyone else jump in on that one?
I think I joined Mission SanScar because I truly believe, you know, in their vision and their mission. And like I've always been attracted to causes that work for women because of, you know, how because of the issues women face in India. So if, you know, if I get to work on that front, it'll always be something that'll make me happy. It'll give me drive, you know. And also because I know that, you know, Sumati was heading this, and I've seen her work. So we worked closely on another project, which also helped women. And so I knew that, you know, I could make a difference in being a part of this organization.
Amazing. I love the expression roads less taken. So was that also the thing when you started out the organization? Was that also one of the things that this is a whole new road? And just tell us a little bit about, you know, again, how did you start, and what would you pass on to others who are going to start something new?
Yeah, okay. I think the reason why Mission SanScar started, it was something very personal. And I think often things that you're very passionate about start off like that. It starts off with very, very personal experiences, very intimate experiences, which then you want to do something about. And I was just agitated that this is normal. The fact that it's not normal was normal. And I was like, this is not done and we need to do something about it. And we don't want someone older or you know, someone who is not the same gender to be doing something about it, because I'm sorry, we just feel that if it's a decision about us, we have to be on that table. And hence it was a movement that started off with young people, young girls, young menstruators coming and doing something about it. And honestly, we didn't know a lot about what we were on to in the beginning. We just wanted to make change. And if somebody who's starting off is unsure about how will this pan out, I would say just go with it. Start off somewhere, and you know, it's so beautiful how the dots connect. For example, when we started Global Goals World Cup, Vinita reached out to us and she said, you know, you should participate. And I told her, I don't know the first thing about football, but she said, you should do it anyway. And then we started speaking to people, and we got in touch with Kimberly and a bunch of other amazing activist women, and we were able to put it together. And Global Goals World Cup has actually become an inflection point where we made such beautiful connections with organizations, with individuals who are now honestly our #1 supporters. So having said that, I think take every opportunity that comes your way and believe in the cause, and you know, a way paves out for itself. And just coming back to Mission SanScar a little bit, how do we start? As I said, we started off with an independent, non-funded, just a movement of young girls who wanted to do something, and have now evolved over the last 3-4 years into a more strategic organization who's trying with these different elements which are unconventional, the road less taken, with sport, with art, with music, and a lot of advocacy to be able to bring change. And that is a journey we're on. So to anybody else who's wanting to start a movement, or as much as just a voluntary program, or participating in Global Goals World Cup, I would just say, go with it. And the kick you get and the rush you get is unparalleled and very rewarding.
Radhika, do you want to add something to that? Thank you for saying that. I think for anyone listening in on this, you're listening into the Clubhouse and the Global Goals World Cup community, and we're talking to Team ScanScar for India, doing amazing work for women, young women and women in India. And Ashima, welcome. Good to see you here. So I want to hear your voice and your story in a second, but I'm going to give you a second to do that, and then I'm going to ask in, because I remember you came in playing with a cave that says anything I can do, anything you can do, I can do bleeding. And Maria and we've said that so many times after. So it says the cave was just like, first of all, we were sad that we didn't ask if we could bring one of them back, because we just would love to have that one hanging in our office and taking it on every once in a while when you need that. But you also had a young woman who was doing a rap. Yeah. And when we translated, when we got the rap translated, because it wasn't done in English. I don't know what I can't remember now. Was it in?
It was in Hindi.
Was it? Okay, it was just Hindi. She was doing it. Anyway,
yeah,
we had it translated, and we were looking at the text afterwards and saying, oh my God, so outspoken, such to the point text. So I would absolutely love if there's any chance do you guys have that rap in recorded or something like that, so we can put it and share it with people?
Yeah, sure. We can definitely do that. I will share a recording of the rap.
Perfect. Because and we will make sure that it's translated so other people also have a chance, because I think that was, and it just felt so refreshing that somebody dared to go up on the stage and be that outspoken. So, and I think that must be also a little bit of what your organization is doing, daring to be outspoken.
Yeah, I think all we do is give a little bit of nudge and let them know that anything that anyone else is doing, you can do while you're bleeding. It doesn't stop you. And I think a major part of the organizations also put these voices, right? We want to amplify these voices, which otherwise go unheard. And platform like yours are an excellent platform for us to showcase it. But a lot of our work is focused on amplifying these voices. Girls who want to make a point, and we can be brash about it. We aren't ashamed. This is who we are. And these are our rights, and we want to claim them. And Gayatri, who did the rap, did an excellent job of it. And it was spontaneous. This was not planned. She didn't prepare it. She wrote it. It's one of our original writings, and she just went with the flow. And I think the energy was so infectious in that stadium that day that it just inspired her to go for it.
It was also a moment when you didn't understand what she was saying, but when we had it translated, when you understood it, it was just also such a powerful moment there for sure. Ashima, do you want to join in and tell us a little bit about who you are?
Hi everyone. Yeah, so actually I just got connected with Mission SanScar like few months back, and I'm from Indore, actually, a city in India, and I've been staying in Mumbai for like past 5 years. And Mission SanScar is something like I really, the cause is amazing. That menstrual hygiene is one of the most, thing that women go through and they don't know about. So it's one of the causes that's telling people that how we can like deal with different things that we go through our menstruation, and what should we do during our cycle when it comes. So this is one thing about me, and I am also I'm situated in Mumbai for now, and I guess that's it.
What is your for all of you in a time like this? What does the situation look like in India right now? And also, how do you keep your group, your team strong and together?
So one of the things we do is, since we're all Ashima and I, we're also working in other organizations. So, but we make sure that, we get on calls. We're all like late owls. So we get on calls at night. And I think Sumati also stays awake at night. And that's where I think we get all our wacky ideas and we do all our brainstorming at that time. And apart from that, we just try to stay digitally connected. You know, we have our WhatsApp groups and we have our Zoom meetings, and it's very one of the things I realized that it's very difficult to communicate like this, you know, digitally. But we are all in different cities right now. Like Ashima is in one part of India, Samati is in one part of India, and I'm in a different part. So we had to make sure that we work on our communication so that we get the point across, and that does not cause a delay in our campaigns and, you know, our work.
Yeah, and just to add on to that a little bit, so I think the mantra we've been following at Mission SanScar is really over communication is better than under. And we are following that internally as well as with the beneficiaries. So we are definitely doing more check-ins over the phone, have opened up our personal numbers and messages so that people can just drop us a WhatsApp and things like those, and are also connecting them with various other organizations who are better equipped to handle certain issues. But we've really become that go-to people can just, you know, pick up the phone and call in case there is a distressed situation. So that's what we are doing. We're over communicating a lot. We've also created a listening circle, I think, internally, because a lot is going on in India at the moment. Not only is it a tussle between public health and the economy staying afloat. Those are difficult choices for a lot of people, but also in terms of mental health, in terms of, you know, just uncertainty with, for example, our careers or our schools or things at home. Domestic violence cases have been on a very high rise in India at the moment. In fact, across the world is what I'm reading through Amnesty. But things like those are something that's happening around us, and we need a safe space to be able to speak about these things. So I think that is also something we've been trying to do.
What is the everyday situation in India look like right now? Is everything on a lockdown at this time?
No, so we've officially lifted the lockdown in the state, so interstate movement, etc. is allowed, but schools are still shut. Offices are only working with 10% strength. Any recreational spaces are shut down at the moment. It's difficult to get access to essential things at this point. Hospital and medical care is actually overburdened severely in India at the moment. So while we've opened up the lockdown in the economy, the cases are on the rise. We actually had the highest rise ever in the last 2 days. So that's a scary spot to be in. Yeah, so it's definitely uncertain and a difficult place to be in for India.
I just want to add, like, the only relief is that the recovery rate is more as compared to the active state. So that's the only relief that we are getting in terms of, you know, the cases that are rising. So there's still hope that, yeah, we can do better during this lockdown. People are cooperating. People are, you know, taking all the precautions during the lockdown for, you know, staying away from as much as they can. So it's a great thing that everybody is cooperating and everybody is, you know, doing something or the other in order to, you know, get through this phase. So it's amazing.
Yeah, that's true. I think there's definitely a little bit of optimism. The only other crisis I think we're also facing is the migrant labor crisis in India at this point, where a lot of our migrant laborers who live in these big cities like Mumbai and Delhi now want to go back home because, you know, they've lost their jobs and they barely have any money left with them. And unfortunately, there hasn't been enough support for them. So some of the fundraising money that we've been able to raise during bearable periods, the campaign that we ran, we are also now directing towards relief for these migrant laborers who are actually just walking across the country on highways with women not having access to these products or even toilets for that matter. So some of our relief will be directed in this sphere as well.
But when you say walking, so walking on the streets, is that people leaving the cities to try to make it back to where they are originally coming from?
That's right, yeah. And this is hundreds and thousands of kilometers.
Yeah.
And that is why, you know, we started bearable periods as well, because Sumati told us about a lot of stories that, you know, women are facing such issues because on the roads we do not have the best toilets in India, and, like, you know, they're anyways stressed. You know, their little babies have to work, they have to carry their belongings, their babies. So, you know, whatever little we can do to help at such a time.
I think it's amazing. I mean, it is so inspiring to listening into to what you are doing. in this time also, I mean, both of what you were doing before, but also paying attention to a situation like this, because I think, and I didn't know this, that you say that some don't get their menstrual periods in stressful times like this, which, I mean, I don't even know if we've ever looked into that, and if we know numbers, and so what are the effects of time like this. And I think that's also in our organization, lots of conversations about now, what can our role be, how can we be stronger as an organization with something like this hits out. And that's also why, at least now getting in stories and listening into what you all are doing around in the world. And of course, also telling you that we are working with, because we met Rubal Naji when we were playing who is an artist from your country in India when we were there, and she has joined in together with Sustainable Minds, and also joining in and organizing the Global Goals World Cup in India again next year. So we will be back playing there at some time whenever things is possible. And of course, we deeply hope that you will join in, and would love to know, if you had a chance to play again in that sense, is there something that you would like to add or change that you think would benefit the tournament? Then we would love to know.
Sure, Kim, I think since you were the one on the field, you can take that one up.
It was a tournament unlike any other I've ever played before. It wasn't purely about just winning, and I appreciated that there were so many points for advocacy and for the message that you were bringing across. Like we're taught so often when we're initiated into a sport, that winning isn't everything. And I think Global Goals World Cup took that to another level, where it wasn't just about what the score at the end of the game was, but there were all these other elements that contributed to your final result. And I think just like you said, those capes that we wore and walked around during the tournament, it was very empowering. We constantly face the stigma of women not being equal to men, gender gaps, pay gaps, and all of that. But to wear those capes that said anything you can do, I can do bleeding, was so empowering. And it made me personally feel like I was playing for something so much bigger. And, to be able to meet so many other women who are working with organizations that are contributing to all these other developmental goals, it was really eye-opening, and it was a very enriching experience all in all. So I really appreciate everything that went into this. It was not your usual tournament. There were so many more takeaways than just trying to win a game, and I really appreciated all of that came with playing that tournament.
I really appreciate you saying that. You know what also happens when I talk to women about it, often they say that, they would probably not have come out to play football if it was just a football tournament, right? The fact that you had to come together and actually do something. So adding the purpose into sports have definitely given more women, not only giving them the ability, because we always have the ability, but in a sense, make it more logical. Suddenly sport had a different name to it than just being a sport. So I think that we've had really fun with playing into this, and Marie keeps on saying now, it's like, Majken, we have to be proud of that. We've actually changed rules so we could make sure that we could open up a new roadmap for how you could, make tournaments different than the ones that we see. So we are very aware of just playing with, should we change anything here? Should we try to make something new here? So always feel that you can add in the idea of changing rules, and that comes both to the law of the countries that we live in, but also the laws and in cultural laws and in sports laws and stuff like that. So yeah, roads less taken, rules that needs to be changed, right, in the time that we're in. So before we end, I just want to hear if there's something else that you want to add to this conversation, that you want to say to the Global Goals World Cup community. These are like 4,400 other women out there that are doing activations, and I know would love your story listening in. So
Okay, I'm just going to take this opportunity and hop on. One is that we are extremely grateful to be a part of this wonderful community, and would definitely look for more ways to engage as we know each other. So if there can be some avenues where we can come together and we may maybe do something cross boundaries, sans geography, that would be amazing, considering that we now have a virtual medium of coming together. So that's definitely one. Second would just be that if anybody who's looking to support Mission SanScar or help us in any way, support us or just encourage us, please do reach out. Our social media handles are as our name. And last but not the least, we really look forward to participating in Global Goals World Cup 2021, and are very optimistic that it will be held in India. We'll be very excited to support, help more people come on board. And I think the small request that I would have is perhaps next year when we come to India, we can try reaching out the smaller places as well. I think this was in Mumbai. It was great, but we can definitely help you bring more girls from perhaps and more activists who are incredible from different parts of India, and help you curate a more wholesome Global Goals World Cup experience in the country.
amazing. So we'll take each other up on these things, right? And please feel engage as much as where ideas and thoughts and campaigns that you're running, and we will share them. And then just saying thank you for being here today, and I'll see you next year, hopefully.
Absolutely, we're very hopeful. Thanks a lot.
We'll be open for that again. All right, stay safe and keep being beautiful and radical the way that you are. Is a big inspiration.
Thank you. Thanks so much for your time.
Thank you so much, everyone. Take care.
Thank you.
Bye. Bye.